of Brenda's bonkers. A lot has been going on. I live in Minnesota, in Brooklyn Park, which is a suburb of Minneapolis. We are a minority majority city, which means that the majority of our city is either black or Hispanic or just not white. So, with a lot of the ICE presence, there's been some kind of things I need to discuss, or I feel like I should discuss today. First off, my delusions. Now, one of my main delusions, because I'm a veteran, is that the government is out to get me. Like, they're going to enlist me, or they're going to put me in the mental ward, or they're just out to get me and do harm. That's one of my big delusions that I have. And it's kind of paranoia too. And I started having that around Christmas time when my shot was wearing off. That was before the whole ICE incident where they killed a woman, a white woman. So we'll talk about how that affects me. It makes me not want to leave the house. It makes me afraid of the VA. And I usually feel pretty comfortable with the VA because they're my doctors, but they did put me in the mental ward. And for me, that was kind of like a prison. So I'm kind of fearful of that. I wanted to take my meds so I wouldn't go into the mental ward. I was just really worried about that. So, let's see. I'm going to talk about, since then, the ICE presence has ramped up. And in case you don't know what ICE is, it's Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Trump has set out to get Minnesota. I think part of it is because our governor ran against him as the vice president in the election. But with him cutting the social services, of putting a freeze on paying the money, I'm no longer having my aide come, who was Somali. She no longer comes anymore. I lost my therapist just because she's afraid to go out anymore to people's homes. She's getting a little older and it's harder for her to do that. So I'm losing my services little by little right now. And part of that is because of the government. Another thing that is that my kids are biracial and my husband is black. And although I am white, that does affect our household. So back around, I don't know, last year, the school year, my kids, I sent them with their birth certificates at school in case something ever happened. And now I've ramped that up a little bit to where I'm making my older son keep it in his wallet so he has it on him at all times. So I make sure the kids have their copy of their birth certificates and that they know that they're citizens. They're not African American, they're American. That's very important to teach my kids right now. That they can't say that they're African American. They have to say that they're American. My husband's family has been here since the Revolutionary War. And the majority of my family has been here since, well, I had some immigrants come in the late 1800s. But for the most part, my parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, they've all been born here in the United States. So, I'm a citizen. My kids are citizens. And I want to make sure that they feel comfortable with being a citizen, that they know that their rights, that they are citizens of the United States. I fought for this country, and I deserve to have freedom. Freedom to have my kids go to school. And yes, I am sending my kids to school. There's been a lot of talk around that. Me and my husband has had talks about, should we keep the kids home? Ultimately, it comes down to they have a right to their schooling. They have a right to go to school. They're citizens. They may be children of color, but they have rights. And I don't want them to have fear of going to school. I know ICE has gone to one of the schools. They went to Roosevelt. I saw the video of that. They haven't gone into any of my kids' schools, which is good. And I'm thinking that the teaching staff can handle those kind of situations. And if anything happens, they have parents who are citizens that can prove that my children are citizens. I'm more concerned about right now the protests that are going on. It's January here, it's cold, but there's people still going out for the protests. A lot of people are going out for the protest. It's almost like what it was back when George Floyd had died. And the protests are a little bit stronger because it was a white woman that died. But I'm concerned because they're throwing ice, they're writing on walls, they're throwing bricks through windows. You know, there's a lot of people doing peaceful protests, but there are those that aren't. And that's concerning to me. Because although I know law enforcement is kind of scary, the protesters are even more scary to me. So, how am I doing with this? Well, I still went to the VA. I'm very proud of myself. The VA is by the Whipple building where the ice is out of. And I had no problems going to the VA. I went with my husband, who's black. He had no problems with it. I felt comfortable being there. My husband, of course, drove because I'm too afraid to drive there. But it's in Minneapolis, and a lot of things have shut down in Minneapolis. I'm glad that the VA has not shut down. A lot of the schools have shut down, the Minneapolis schools, and I think Fridley schools. There's a couple of schools that have shut down because of the protests and because of fear of ICE. People just aren't showing up to schools anymore. That stores are empty. A lot of stores have closed their doors, or a lot of businesses have closed their doors. People are afraid to leave their homes. It's kind of a scary situation right now. It's back when it was like COVID and the George Floyd stuff, where we're back, 5 years back, where nobody was going anywhere, where schools were shutting down. It's an uncomfortable feeling knowing that people are afraid. And it makes me think that I should be more afraid. But I'm not as afraid because I'm usually afraid. I'm afraid of the government. So for me, this is normal, where for these other people, it's not normal. Where I have to live my life regardless of being afraid. Where they're shutting down. So, in one sense, my delusions and fear have helped me. My paranoia has helped me in this situation. because I'm used to being in this fear and still working through it. So now when it's fear for everybody else, I'm still functioning fairly well. I know there's been a lot of talk, especially like at church, they've been talking about safe spaces, and they're just worried. People are worried, and they're looking at what legally they can do. It's good that people are paying attention. I know they've authorized more people to come to Minneapolis, and it's scary. I'm not going to lie. But I feel like because this is a delusion that I normally have, I'm functioning fairly well with it. I just wanted to put it out there. This is what's going on in our town. That we shouldn't be so fearful. We should go about living our lives, unless you are an immigrant, an illegal immigrant. But even they're snatching up Native Americans, anybody of color. Make sure you carry your documents with you. I know you shouldn't have to carry your birth certificate with you, or your social security card, or your um, real ID. Make sure you have whatever documentation you have that says you're a legal citizen. And don't fight with the ICE people. Tell them exactly who you are and be respectful so you don't get shot like that one woman did. I'm not blaming her for getting shot, but there's ways to work with the ICE agents and ways not to. You want to keep safe and come home to your family. And that's the important thing. So I'm sorry for this being kind of a down video, but that's what's going on with me because I live in Minnesota and it's all over the news. I try to stay away from the news now, but it's hard. It's easy to get caught up in. So thank you. This is Brenda's Bonkers signing off. Have a good day.